From the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses on WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
So do we know what kind of activities going on out here? Because there's a van. I mean, I figured there would be nobody here, but what are they doing?
I know the trades guys are doing work in culinary, in the kitchen.
I mean,
they were hammering away over there yesterday.
I am really impressed that it's 6:02, and these guys
are the guys from the school department trades guys.
Yeah, they are Johnny on the spot over here. I came in and I thought, well, there won't be anybody here. It's school vacation, and there was a truck leaving as I was coming in, a pickup truck, and I'm thinking, who's leaving at 6 in the morning? Wow.
That's Burnsy. That's one of the Burns brothers.
Okay.
Who's a custodian here.
Well, that's impressive.
He was like, I'm going to get a coffee. I'll be back.
Okay. I don't blame
him. And then
him.
the other guy is that's the carpenters here. So I don't know what they're building back there.
Okay.
But I heard him chiseling away yesterday on something. So
stay tuned.
I don't know. Culinary got something.
They do. They have something going on. All right. So, Pete, I saw you yesterday, and so I know that your Christmas was spent at Mount Holyoke, right? How long were you, like, what was you did
16-hour
you
shift.
You did a double shift.
Well, so, like, it was setting up because this is one of the first years where my brother was supposed to be away, and he was. They're in Orlando.
Okay.
Mom was going to go visit her sister, so I was like, I got nothing to do. And my girlfriend's family, they were doing the family Christmas on her side. So I got nowhere to be. So I told my boss, I'm like, I can work a double on Christmas. Usually I work 3 to 11.
Okay.
That's the traditional shift I've worked for Christmas or the holidays.
Yep.
I said, I could do a double. It's just going to be, basically it's like it's like a knuckleballer in baseball. I'm just chewing up innings.
So so the double was from when to when?
7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty much the entire Christmas day.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what was nice was we found an open Chinese restaurant. Mom picked up Chinese on the way over. And we had dinner and hung out and watched TV.
I love it.
Shot the breeze.
Oh, that's nice. That's great. Good for Mom. She got to spend a little time with her family.
I told my boss what I was doing. He's like, dude, you're working a double. You can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
You want her to answer phones? You can have her answer phones.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. That's
great. So I gave two full timers that basically the day out. Nobody would have to cover. So
yeah, that was really nice of you, Pete. You know, people.
I mean, all throughout my career, I've worked either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was single, I worked Christmas. I usually worked a double on Christmas Eve with Jim Saluski.
Mm-hmm.
We'd work all day Christmas Eve, so as many dispatchers or guys could have the day off as possible.
Yep. Yeah.
Because we were both bachelors, so it didn't matter.
Yep.
And then when I got a family, I tried to work one of them to free up somebody, or worked my regular shift so nobody would else have to work.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people don't remember that, there are folks out there that have to, we got nurses and doctors and, mechanics and, all kinds of people that don't have a choice. They have to work the holidays and kind of figure it out.
The rule of thumb when I worked at Holyoke PD was everybody had to work 4 hours on both of those days.
Yep.
Didn't matter what.
Yes.
Didn't matter if you were scheduled or not, or you're
Yes.
part-time or not. Everybody had to work 4 hours.
Yep. And, it's interesting. The first nursing home that I worked in, it was a small nursing home in New Jersey. And that's what they used to do with the nurses' aides, and both on, Thanksgiving and Christmas and Christmas Eve and so forth. And I, at the time, was same. I wasn't married and I was living at home. And so the nurses and the nurses' aides had to work 4 hours. And I I volunteered the first Thanksgiving I worked there, and I said, listen, I'm not a certified nurse's aide, but I said I can, help get people ready to go if they were going home with family for the day. I can brush hair, I can get out, I can make beds, and that's what I did.
Sure.
I went in and I did all the non-personal care stuff, but I was just able to be an extra pair of hands and help get people where they needed to go. And to me it was like 4 hours. What's a big, that's really not a bad way to do it. Honestly, it kind of evens it out. And I mean,
I thought that was very fair.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Okay. And 4 hours you can kind of figure out. And they let me choose. I said, well, when do you need me? And they said, well, really, first thing in the morning would be best. So I worked from like 8 to 12 or something like that, until noontime. And then my family didn't have Thanksgiving dinner till later anyway. So I was like, yeah, okay, I could do that.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
And then, as it turned out, that was the first year that Gary was in chiropractic school out in Iowa. And the part of the reason I volunteered was because he couldn't come home. I mean, he was out in the middle of nowhere. Well, guess what? He surprised me and he flew home the night before. So, there was this knock on my door. I don't think my parents knew. His parents obviously did. But, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to work tomorrow. I volunteered for 4 hours, but it was fine.
Yeah.
So all good. All right. And
so it was no big deal. I watched a lot of TV, watched football all day because it was 3 games on. So.
Yes, I know we did as well. Good Green Bay game was a great game.
Yeah.
That was a fun game to watch.
Yep, and I did some other stuff as we were going, and boom, 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 off we went.
Yep, and there we were all of a sudden, Mom, Chinese, and 11 o'clock, and I'm out of here.
Yeah.
All right, so we have New Year's coming up. Any special New Year's plans?
No, I'm actually taking this year off. I'm taking this year off from doing the countdown show because Kenny is leaving early either that day or
Where's he going, by the way? Where's Kenny
He's going to Vegas for Consumer Electronics Show.
And flying something other than Southwest, I hope.
Oh no, we all do Southwest.
Yeah.
But he's I don't know, he'll probably get on. He's pretty good about that, yeah. Well, if he doesn't go, he's going to be pissed.
It's a mess. That's Southwest. I was just listening to an airing on NPR on my way in, and they were asking like, what happened? They said, well, of course, weather was part of it and some of their hubs, but technology. They just said their technology is not
I noticed
up to
that
speed, apparently.
like I'm trying to book flights to South Padre Island, which is where Starship is, right? So I was looking at that to try to book, and the system won't figure out a route to get you to South Padre Island.
Yeah,
so you have to do it in like segments. You can do it from Baltimore to South Padre, but then you have to book a separate itinerary to Baltimore to work around that. You have to figure it out on your own. So I'm like, well, okay. And I know that a lot of the crews, they were saying, I've been talking to crews because I've been flying a fair amount lately, and the crews are saying, it's very tight for even them. A lot of crews now are stuck in airports too.
Right.
They don't have planes to get to either.
And I guess part of the other problem is the scheduling thing is, I guess, again, with the IT system kind of being down, is that they're having a hard time figuring out
how to get planes to
and where pilots and flight attendants are to get them. That's that's one of their biggest problems, I guess, right now. But it's kind of a mess. But hopefully, well, let's see. Today's Wednesday. When's Kenny supposed to fly out? Like Saturday, Sunday, something like that.
Yeah, probably. Well, you know what?
Hopefully, it'll be.
Listen, sometimes an emergency like this is spurs change, like with the pandemic.
No doubt about it.
Remote working.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to cost some money, and your flights may go up a little bit, but.
Yep.
Hey,
in the end,
the end, they're gonna have to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got if it has to do with your technology system, you got to get that up to speed. I mean, wow.
Well, you do and you don't. I mean, think about this: all those programs for all those airlines are probably custom, so it's gonna take some time to fix it or adapt it.
Well, I mean,
look at Noble when it became part of Bay State. It took over a year. to integrate those two systems.
Yep,
So
absolutely. And then
take
it
some
took
time.
it took a year just to integrate just kind of the business end of it, and then they had to do the electronic charts, and that was a whole other process. That didn't all happen at one time. So
Right.
yeah, you're
Yeah, no, I
absolutely
know.
right, Pete. That was definitely
I know
a
how long it took
transition.
when we merged the CAD system, the computer aided dispatch for police and fire, and they were using the same software. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were using the
Oh,
same
yeah.
software,
Yeah.
two variations of it, but the same basic software, and that took a year of planning and execution to do it. So.
And I think now too, are we technically merged now with Southwick in terms of
Yes.
dispatch? So, and that
Yes.
is certainly is not
And they
without
use-
its little glitches, right?
Right. Well, the biggest part of that was they used the same software, so we had been through that process before, and I don't think that was a big deal for them. The big deal was merging the radio systems
Okay.
because Southwick's system was aging, and so that required a major upgrade to come up to the level where Westfield was at because they redid theirs about 5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think about 5 years ago because I was through that project. So they had to come up to that level, whereas they had an aging system, and to come up to the radio console that we had, you can jury rig it and Frankenstein it, but I'm sure that the system was flexible enough to handle it, because I helped spec a good system, but they probably came up to the level.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with any of that, although I'd love to have been a fly on the wall. Because I had the expertise
sure,
of the first time around,
yeah.
and I wasn't involved in any of it, which
Yeah.
kind of, well, whatever.
Whatever, right, Pete? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Why relearn everything when you had somebody who had a subject matter expert sitting
When
down
you
there?
could have just picked up the phone and said, "We need help here."
Sat in a few meetings.
Yep,
Yes,
exactly. All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna do it the way we're gonna do it.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so today is December 28th, and it is Pledge of Allegiance Day, and that is observed annually on this day. Congress formally recognized the Pledge of Allegiance on December 28th, 1945, which really surprised me. I thought the Pledge of Allegiance was way older than that, but 1945, that's not that old. Thought to have been written by Francis Bellamy, the Pledge of Allegiance was published anonymously by a magazine for young people, and the name of that magazine was The Youth's Companion, and it was written in celebration of the 400th anniversary in 1892 of the discovery of America. The text of the pledge, as originally written and modified a bit by the National Flag Conference in 1923 and 1924, was inserted into this legislation, but without designating it as the official pledge. In its original form, the Pledge of Allegiance went like this: I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The small changes made resulted in this version: I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wait a minute, what happened to under God?
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
The words under God were added by Congress on June 14th, 1954. So under God was not originally in there. They added those in 1954 in response to the anti-communism opinion sweeping the country during the Cold War.
Okay.
So there it is. So that's when under God was put in.
I was like, it's missing a few digits.
Well, but again, there
And
were,
you know what? That's
there
better
were
flow, though.
There were, I agree, and there was, there were reforms along the way.
Remember, little kids had to recite this every day at school, so
We had to.
the flow was a little better.
We had to recite it every day.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, every day. And when I was
in Catholic school too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just in
public school. Yeah, well, I was in public school. But you know what was funny, Pete, was when I was, I want to say probably up until, well, definitely up through 6th grade. Every morning we, roll call in your homeroom, recited the Pledge of Allegiance, and we sang some song that the teacher chose. You did it a cappella, and it was, some "My Country 'Tis of Thee," or we didn't do the Star Spangled Banner, but "America the Beautiful," some patriotic song. You would do the pledge, sing a patriotic song, and then start your day.
Yep.
So there it is. All right, and on that note, let's listen to a patriotic song in honor of Pledge of Allegiance Day. So you're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC cable channel 15. It is 6:15, and we're going to listen to, I chose this one, Pete, because I know you are a huge Pentatonics fan. This is a cappella, and it is Pentatonics singing My Country 'Tis of Thee in honor of Pledge of Allegiance Day. We'll be back.
Radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:18. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So I'm glad you played that little piece by Harry Rock, because Harry will be on after my show beginning at 8 o'clock. In fact, I'm going to...
He's fully loaded today.
He is fully loaded, so I promised him that I would end a few minutes early because he's got a cast of, like the cast of Ben-Hur is going to be here this morning, so everybody's going to have to get situated, and we're going to have to redo the mics. We
loaded up all the mics just in case.
I know, and I tried not to move too much too far away, and I think I promised Harry that I would end a little early and give him some extra time. So he will have Mayor Mike McCabe is scheduled to come on. I think Senator John Velas, is that right?
And both state reps.
Representative Kelly Pease and Representative Mike Finn, who is now representative. Is it Ward 6? Okay,
Ward 6,
Mike Finn is the state representative. He's my state representative in West Springfield and has been for several years. So Mike is a great person, and but I'm happy that It's kind of actually nice now that I work in Westfield. I live in West Springfield. I now share Senator Vilas because he now represents West Springfield as my senator.
We're going to grill him about his airport knowledge because now the airport's in his district. So
yes, exactly. So Representative Finn is going to have to learn about that Ward 6. So
there's a lot of industrial in his area, so
yes.
he's going to have to come up to speed quick.
Yep, exactly. So and I think that Rep Finn is up for that task. So anyway, Harry will have. So how many? 4, 5? How many? It's Harry
and 4 politicians.
Mayor and 3. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Mayor and
we put up all 6 mics just in case.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll
Kenny,
be a great show.
We better put them all up just in case somebody shows up.
Yep, exactly.
Because it's 5 now, so you never know.
Yep. So that should be a great show. So that starts at 8 o'clock this morning.
Yep.
The second hour of my show, because it's the 4th Wednesday of the month. My guest this morning is Joe Rouse from the Health Department. We have lots of things to talk about.
This is true.
Joe has a full slate of issues that he would like to discuss.
Yep. And your show, Council on Aging Presents, I got most of it done yesterday.
Oh, wow. Good.
Syncing up the audio because I did that little hand clap thing.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Very easy.
Okay.
Very easy. Yeah.
Good.
So I got it rendered out as a rough edit, and then I just cleaned it up today.
Perfect. So
that's ready to go.
Yep. So we are planning. January 1st is right around the corner. So we are starting to plan for our January programming, especially here on Channel 15. So stay tuned for that. The newsletter will be out. The Voice of Experience newsletter will be out on Saturday. I had a lot of people asking me this week, well, where's the newsletter?
Come out early?
I said, it's the last Saturday of the month, and the last Saturday of the month happens to be New Year's Eve. So that's when it'll be out, and I will stop by the Senior Center in the morning and make sure that it's in the bin outside for anyone who wants to get it. Of course, Monday, because the holiday falls on Sunday, the city employees get Monday off, so City Hall will be closed, the Senior Center will be closed. And I think
I'm going to do nothing on Monday.
You know what? I think
you need to do nothing.
I know. I just kind of like that's usually like New Year's Day, but now because I have Monday off, putting away the Christmas decorations and that kind of stuff, just kind of reorganizing a little bit and just some family time. So yeah,
I swear I'm going to install a camera out there to make sure you're not there.
Yeah, I was pretty good this weekend. I took off 2 days in a row. I didn't go in on Christmas Eve and I didn't go in on Christmas Day at all.
All right, okay.
So 2 days in a row, that's really great.
Between me and Gary, we got to keep an eye on you.
Oh, it's so funny. My staff was Evelyn Bristol said, she goes, I was going to text you on Friday and say, are you home yet?
Go home.
Go home. And I said, well, I left it around 5, which, for my family, Gary was like, well, this is a miracle. What are you doing home so early? So that was good. All good, Pete. All good. It's like never ending. All right. So let's do some famous birthdays. So today is December 28th. It is the birthday of the late Woodrow Wilson, 28th U.S. president. He was born on this day in 1856 in Stanton, Virginia. And he died on February 3rd, 1924, at the age of 67. He was actually fairly young. Woodrow Wilson was an academic and politician who served as the 2-term 28th President of the United States from 1913 to 1921. I love this. Less than stellar in school, scholars now think that Woodrow Wilson had a form of dyslexia. He was rigorously trained by his father in oratory and debate. He enrolled at nearby Davidson College but transferred to Princeton in 1875. Wilson went on to study law at the University of Virginia, and he earned his Ph.D. in political science and history at Johns Hopkins University. In a fast rise politically, he spent 2 years as governor of New Jersey before being elected in 1912 to the presidency of the United States. At the outbreak of World War I in Europe in 1914, Woodrow Wilson declared America neutral. He tried to dispense a peace protocol to Great Britain along with the money and munitions they asked for, but he was rebuffed. He finally asked Congress to declare war in April of 1917 when Germany repeatedly ignored U.S. neutrality and sunk American ships. When the war was over, nearly a year and a half later, Americans were perceived as heroes. the, quote, Great War was also meant to be the last war. Well, we know how that turned out. Woodrow Wilson proposed the 14 points as the basis for the peace treaty at Versailles, with the last point being the creation of a League of Nations to ensure world peace. While adopted by Europe, Congress did not approve of the United States joining the League of Nations. Wilson toured the nation in an effort to increase public support for the League, and he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1920 for his efforts. His legacy includes sweeping reforms for the middle class, voting rights for women, and precepts for world peace. When President Wilson suffered his second serious stroke in October of 1919, so that was 2 years before he died, his second wife, Edith, masked the severity of his illness, making decisions in his stead and becoming undercover what some historians term America's first female president. Wilson made a partial recovery but spent his remaining years seriously disabled. I thought that was really interesting. I didn't know that about him.
That's what some people think Nancy Reagan did.
Well,
for
yes, I was
too.
going to say we all kind of, and I can tell you right now, she did, because Reagan had Alzheimer's disease, and that is insidious. I mean, that is over a period of time, and there's no doubt in my mind that, she was, or somebody certainly was, was behind the scenes. But I had never heard that about Wilson and that was his second wife. His first wife had passed away.
FDR, they kept that secret too, his polio and how bad he was. So.
Exactly. Yep.
It's a lot harder to do nowadays.
Yeah, exactly, Pete. I mean, my God, with social media and just television and 24-hour news cycles. Yeah, it's a lot different. All right, today is also the birthday of singer-songwriter John Legend, born on this day in 1978 in Springfield, Ohio. He's 44 years old today, so happy 44th birthday to John Legend.
Just a kid.
I know. Such talent, though. John Legend is a musician and songwriter who has worked with such artists as Alicia Keys, Twista, Janet Jackson, and Kanye West. Legend's debut album in 2004, Get Lifted, went platinum thanks in part to the hit single Ordinary People, a song he originally penned for the Black Eyed Peas. Legend went home with 3 Grammy Awards for Get Lifted. He was awarded a Grammy for Best R&B Album, Best R&B Male Vocal Performance, and Best New Artist. After 2 more solo albums, Legend released his collection with The Roots, Wake Up, in 2010. Legend also appeared on the TV competition Duets as a coach before dropping his next album, 2013's Love in the Future. In 2015, the songwriter, along with rapper Common, won a Golden Globe for Best Original Song Glory from the film Selma. I never saw that film. Did you ever see that, Pete? Selma?
Not sure.
Yeah, I have.
I
did not see it.
Parts of it,
Yeah. The tune also won a Grammy and an Academy Award, with both artists using their Oscar acceptance speeches to highlight contemporary issues that connected to the civil rights movement. Legend received an Emmy for his performance in the 2018 production of Jesus Christ Superstar live in concert. So, not bad. For a youngin' of 44 years old. So happy birthday to singer-songwriter John Legend, sharing a birthday with Woodrow Wilson. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention on air this morning. So my oldest brother, emailed the family yesterday to remind us that yesterday, December 27th, was my parents' wedding anniversary. Both my parents, of course, are deceased. But my brother Mike, emailed us and said, if they were alive, this would be their 75th wedding anniversary. And funny story about that, my parents got married during the blizzard of 47. My brother Mike was born in 48. Yeah, they got married during the blizzard of 47, and they got married in northern New Jersey. My mother ended up writing an article for Reminisce magazine, and it was published with pictures of her wedding, and it was really this major ordeal. And so they had to, and those were the old days. Like, my dad literally had to go down to the church and shovel the sidewalk, and it was a total mess. Most of their wedding party couldn't make it because everybody was snowed in. And my father ended up having to hitchhike to and from the church. And when he had finished shoveling and he went back, he was going back to his house to get changed and get ready for the wedding. A truck driver picked him up and, kind of said to him, like, what the heck are you doing out here? And my dad said, well, I've got this wedding. And the truck driver thought my father was in the wedding party. So the truck driver said, well, what idiot is getting married today? And my father said,
This idiot.
That would be me, So it was, it was a lovely affair, lots of snow and so forth. So we often joke about it. I said to my brothers yesterday, I said, wonder if any crazy people are getting married in Buffalo this weekend.
Oh, my God, they got a ton. Have you seen some of that?
They got hammered.
They got walloped again.
They got absolutely hammered. And Gary has one of the personal trainer from Strength for Life his daughter lives in Buffalo, so he is there for the holidays, and now he is stuck in his hotel room, and he had sent some video to Gary and some of the other Strength for Life folks, and Gary said he said you got to see this video that Ted Davidson said. You can't you can't see anything. He's taking it from his window, and it's just like a whiteout. It's just a sheet of white snow. So interesting stuff. All right, it is 6:30. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. And in honor of the 44th birthday of John Legend, we're going to listen to what I think is just one of the most beautiful love songs that he did. It's called All of Me. We'll be back.
What would I do without your smart mouth? Drawing me in and you kicking me out. You've got my head spinning, no kidding. I can't pin you down. What's going on in that beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy, don't know what hit me, but I'll be alright. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind. 'Cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. 'Cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. How many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful too. The world is beating you down. I'm around through every mood. You're my downfall, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. I can't stop singing, it's ringing in my head for you. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind. 'Cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. 'Cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Give me all of you. Cards on the table, we're both showing hearts, risking curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. 'Cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:36. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. Speaking of Bob Plass.
Yes, Bob Plass. Love to talk about Bob Plass.
We are
Bob.
taping a New Year's special for Bob Plass this afternoon.
You are?
And he's doing it from Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Oh, he's out in Wisconsin?
Yes, he's visiting the Homan clan.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's where James is from. Oh, my gosh. That ought to be a hoot.
So we're doing a Zoom special from Kenosha. Apparently, he's conducting interviews with James's family out there.
I can just imagine. Just imagine this.
He
this
gave
is
some of
gonna
their
be a riot.
careers, and it's going to be they're sound like a bunch of characters. So it should be a lot of fun.
That should be a ton of fun. Oh my goodness, I would love to be a fly on the wall for
and
that one.
kudos to the technology center.
Okay.
They switched over the core switches for the city this morning.
Yes, I know they were going to do that between 6 and 7.
And the disruption was only about 10 minutes, so I sent them an
Wow.
email thanking them for great planning because that was pretty smooth.
Yeah, I know we had gotten all kinds of emails from Lenore over the last
Because you never know
Yep.
what's going to go wrong.
Yep.
I've had stuff go wrong.
Yeah.
Like one morning I was supposed to do the shows. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I was supposed to do the shows, and my police system, my CAD software upgrade went down.
Yep.
It froze on me.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, I'll walk you through it. You didn't want to give up the show
Yep.
because you had Kathy Tobin on.
Yep. I remember.
And I was remote controlling stuff from
Yep.
my desk at the tech center.
Yep.
And we got through the show.
We did. I remember it. I remember Kathy Tobin walked in, and there I am behind the board, and I said, "I've no idea what I'm doing." Pete saying, "Okay, you find the red button, and then you click this, and then you go three
Right, and I'll
buttons
do the rest,
over."
yeah.
And I know. I was like, "What am I doing?" And Kathy was so fun. She was so wonderful. You know, she was
Yeah.
such a great guest. She goes, "No, my gosh, I can't believe you're doing all this." And I said, "I don't know what I'm doing."
Yep. So I was just running the music for you. I think that was it. Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
But yeah, kudos to the
good.
tech center. They did apparently great planning and great prep on the switch to put it in. Because if you do a lot of the stuff, the background stuff to begin with, when you do actually swap the piece of equipment out, it goes smoothly. So
Good. You know,
I
I'm,
sent them
I'm
an email
really happy
'cause-
about this. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Since I'm one of the few users on right now at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, exactly. It's funny because
it's me and the public safety is pretty much it at
right,
this point.
Exactly. Well, I had gone in because I usually stop at the senior. I always stop at the senior center on my way in. So I did that. Kind of checked out the Westfield news. Checked out the headlines. But I turned on my computer because I had some extra time. So I was like, okay, get this all set up. Check the email and everything. And I had forgotten because Lenore had said between 6 and 7 a.m. this morning, was when they were going to be doing whatever they're doing. And I remember thinking, well, I'll be at the studio, so it won't matter to me. But
Yeah, we're only down for about 8 or 10 minutes.
That's awesome.
That's great,
wonderful. Yeah, that's really great. Thank you to you. And speaking of that, P, I'm glad that you sent them that email, because I'm really a big one on when people do a job well done.
Me too.
I think they need to hear about it. I'm also a big one on whenever I send someone a compliment, I always CC the mayor's office on it, because, again, I think the mayor's office, you hear a lot of complaints. We don't like this. We don't like that. When are you going to fix every pothole, in Westfield? So I think they also need to hear some good stuff. So
it's good to be positive once in a while.
It is. And in keeping with that spirit, I had the most beautiful email that was sent to me complimenting our outreach coordinator, Joanne Ortegas, on a case that she had been working on. Joanne has probably our most difficult cases. I mean,
Sure.
She does a lot of crisis intervention. She works with a lot of seniors who have lost or are losing their housing for one reason or another. People with multiple health issues, with all kinds of financial issues. Anyway, this woman was actually a very close friend to a client that Joanne has been working with for several months. The woman doesn't have a lot of family supports, and this friend has been really her main support. And the friend wrote to me, and of course, I am up to speed with all Joanne's cases. I meet with her on a regular basis, and because she's working on our most challenging, with some of our most challenging residents, I really like to be up to speed with where she is in the process, if she's running into any glitches, and, what the problems and the successes are.
Or if she's off or something and you need to step in.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. I just need to know what's going on. So anyway, this friend had sent an email and just, really complimenting Joanne on the job that she had done working with the client, and Joanne was able to, get her housing and kind of get her settled, and she kind of utilized, Joanne is really wonderful at utilizing whatever resources she can. And I'm going to throw a shout out to the Westfield State University football team, because Joanne has reached out to the football coach, I guess the head football coach,
Yep.
on a number of occasions, and those guys have helped us to, physically move some of our seniors, kind of
great.
from one apartment to another, because moving costs were not in the cards. They couldn't afford that. And, for the most part, they were people with not a ton of stuff, one apartment to another apartment, a 3-room apartment to a 3-room apartment.
You should have the coach on your show.
I really should. You know what, Pete? That's a great idea. I really should. So anyway, thank you to them, and thank you to Joanne for, kind of figuring out how to do that and kind of, put these resources together. It's great community service for the college students, and it's a huge help to us. So anyway, this woman wrote this really just a lovely email to me, and I asked her for permission for me to pass that along to both Mayor McCabe as well as to Annie Larkham, who's director of personnel, because I want that in her personal permanent file.
Yeah.
And I did all that, and so congratulations to Joanne Ortegas, because she is, as I said to the mayor when I sent along the email, that particular email, I said, I'm forwarding this. I said, because I know that, because I've said that I feel like I have assembled like one of the best staffs on the planet, and I really do believe that. I have a fabulous staff. And I said, here's just one example. So congratulations to Joanne Ortegas, and thank you for what you do for some of our most vulnerable older adults in the city. Okay, having said that, let's do another birthday today before we take a break. It is December 28th, and on this day, in 1954, one of my favorite actors was born, and that would be Denzel Washington. Actor, producer, director. He was born in Mount Vernon, New York. He's 68 years old today. Denzel Washington first studied journalism at Fordham University, but then discovered an interest in acting. He made his feature film debut in the comedy A Carbon Copy in 1981 and was cast on the hit TV medical drama St. Elsewhere, and he was on that drama from 1982 to 1988. He went on to appear in several hit movies, including Philadelphia, Man on Fire, The Book of Eli, American Gangster, and Flight. He won Oscars for his roles in Glory and Training Day. Denzel Washington portrayed real-life figures in Remember the Titans, which is like one of the Gorman family all-time favorite movies, Hurricane, and Malcolm X. Other famous movies include Courage Under Fire, Crimson Tide, and Unstoppable. Denzel Washington received an Oscar nomination for his starring role in 2016's Fences, an adaptation of August Wilson's Tony and Pulitzer Prize-winning play, and for the 2017 film Roman J. Israel, Esquire. So happy 68th birthday to an amazingly talented Denzel Washington. I mean, some of the actors and actresses that we kind of feature on the show, Pete, I mean, they just have, the credits are pretty phenomenal, and Denzel Washington is one of them. I mean, the number of films and the depth and the breadth of those films is just amazing.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, it is 6:45. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. Again, just to give you a little overview of what's happening later on this morning. So Joe Rouse will be my guest, second hour, director of the Westfield Health Department. So we're going to be talking about a lot of current events going on in the health world. And then Harry Rock will be doing his show, Rock On Westfield, right? That's the name of it,
Yep.
Rock on Westfield, beginning at 8 o'clock. And Harry has a fabulous show lined up. He's got Mayor McCabe, Senator Velas, Representative Pease, and Representative Mike Finn, who is the rep from West Springfield, but now representing also Ward 6 in Westfield. So that's all coming up. We also have, of course, this weekend it's New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So we have to do a couple of songs that have to do with the new year. So this is a song by ABBA. It's called Happy New Year. And I think the song speaks for itself. We'll be back.
Champagne and the fireworks are through. Here we are, me and you, feeling lost and feeling blue. It's the end of the party and the morning seems so gray, so unlike yesterday. Now's the time for us to say Happy New Year. Happy New Year, may we all have a vision now and then of a world where every neighbor is a friend. Happy New Year, may we all have our homes, our will to try. If we don't, we might as well lay down and die. You and I. Sometimes I see how the brave new world arrives, and I see how it thrives in the ashes of our lives. Oh yes, man is a fool, and he thinks he'll be okay, dragging on, free to play, never knowing he's astray, keeps on going anyway. Happy New Year, may we all have a vision now and then of a world where every neighbor is a friend. Happy New Year, may we all have our homes, our will to try. If we don't, we might as well lay down and die.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at Rockies.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtsBeat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in this very quiet studio now, Pete, with producer Pete Coles. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Yeah, whatever they're doing over in culinary, they're doing it very quietly because I can't hear a thing.
Yeah, I think that most of the big stuff was done yesterday.
Yeah. All right, so a couple of announcements just as a reminder. The PVTA has got you covered. Try transit on us. You still have a few more days left to ride the PVTA, either the buses or the vans, at no cost. There are no fares. You don't need any passes to ride during this time. And this is good through the end of the day on December 31st. So you still have a couple more days. And I think this was really done. The fare has been prepaid by the Massachusetts legislation. And I think Senator Velas, in his article in the Westfield News on Saturday, really encouraged people to take advantage of this. And he said, it was done for a couple of reasons. One, of course, we know the price of gas has skyrocketed, although it's starting to settle down a little bit, but still it's high. This offers people an opportunity, maybe to try this out. Maybe you've never tried public transportation. And that doesn't mean that you have to, abandon your cars and your vehicles and only take public transportation, but at least trying it out, you might find, for certain things, what the heck? I'll take the bus. So there is that. And, just for some people who might have been a little hesitant about it, or if cost is a factor, well, it's free now. So take advantage. The PVTA now through December 31st. And it was actually the entire month of December. So just a really, really nice gift from the Massachusetts legislature. At the senior center, we had no indoor dining last week because we were doing all kinds of holiday things, and we have no indoor dining this week because we kind of have a skeleton crew on. Some of our programs are suspended during this holiday week. We don't. Some of our fitness classes are.
I saw your pool players yesterday.
Yes, well, the pool players are going strong. The pool players. We had pool league yesterday.
I watched them come in with their bags and with their cues in the bags.
Well, what was really funny was Harry wanted a tour of where we're going to be doing the renovation project upstairs. Right. So I said, great. So we went upstairs and we toured that. I showed him where we keep all the medical equipment. And then he said, well, what's going on down here? I said, well, you've been here before, right? And he said, well, I haven't been on the second floor in years. And I said, oh, well, come on over. So, of course, the pool league was going strong. And Harry couldn't believe it. He's like, oh, my gosh, all these men? And I said, oh, yeah, twice a week.
Harry will be down to start playing pool.
It's so funny. Well, he said, there really isn't another place. There aren't really pool halls. So I do have to get my Armin Beaupre. He used to own Snookers, which is where we purchased the pool tables. Now he's semi-retired, so he just kind of does maintenance and repair and stuff. So he's got to come in and do his, it's like a tune-up on the pool table. So I'll call him. We'll get him over. But, yep, the guys were definitely going strong yesterday, Tuesday and Thursday in the afternoon. And, of course, they use the pool tables, at other times. They're certainly allowed to do that. But those are the big pool league days. Mm-hmm. So, certainly anyone is welcome to join them. So
very cool.
All good stuff going on, but no indoor dining this week. But we're doing a bang-up job with curbside. We sold out yesterday, and imagine we'll do the same today. As a reminder regarding inclement weather closings, although I understand from my seniors that we're going to be hitting 50 degrees over the next several days.
Shh, don't jinx it.
So that should be good. But in case we do get back to our regular New England weather, just to remind folks, if the schools are closed, the senior center is closed. If the schools have a delayed opening, the senior center will open at 12 o'clock. We will not serve lunch on a delayed opening, and any of the afternoon programs we would run, but the morning programs would either be postponed or canceled. So that's the policy. And if you want to know about that, it is on we posted on the local television stations as well as on WCPC,
Yep,
Cable
you let me
Channel
know,
15. Pete makes announcements. Lenore puts it on the city website. So all kinds of ways to know. So it drives me crazy when somebody comes down in a snowstorm knocking on the front door going, well, why aren't you open? And I didn't know you were closed. I'm like, okay, other than like calling individual 10,000 seniors.
It used to drive us nuts during the beginning of the pandemic. That was like, we give you the opportunities. If you don't take them, that's not our problem.
Exactly. Well, I love the people who say to me, well, I didn't know about this, that, or the other thing. And I'll say, well, it was in the newsletter. I did a press release in the Westfield News. It's like it's on. We announce it on this show. I mean, there are all kinds of opportunities. Yeah, I don't read any of the papers, and I don't listen to the show. I said, well, then you will be uninformed. I mean, there's no, it's like, what do you want me to do about that?
It's a story that you hear about the God in the flood.
Yes.
God save me. I'm on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I sent the cop. I sent the firefighter. I sent the guy in the boat.
The boat. Yep. And you did not. So.
Right.
All right. December 28th, birthday of Maggie Smith, British actress. She is 88 years old today, born in Ilford, England. Maggie Smith has led a distinguished, varied career on stage, in film, and in television over the past 6 decades. She is a legend. Her achievements range from starring as Desdemona in Othello opposite Laurence Olivier to winning an Academy Award for her performance in The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, to memorable roles in the acclaimed television series Downton Abbey and the popular Harry Potter films. And Maggie Smith actually received 2 Academy Awards. She received the first for Best Actress in 1969 for her portrayal of an idealistic, unorthodox schoolteacher in The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. She won the second for Best Supporting Actress in 1978 in honor of her performance in Neil Simon's California Suite. Throughout the 1990s, Maggie Smith acted in a diverse range of projects, from the 1993 comedy Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit with Whoopi Goldberg, to the 1997 literary adaptation Washington Square, and the 1999 ensemble drama Tea with Mussolini. Maggie Smith captured the attention of a new generation when she played the strict witchcraft teacher Minerva McGonagall in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That was back in 2001. The movie was a huge hit, and Smith reprised the role for 6 of the 7 Harry Potter sequels. Since 2010, Smith has been acclaimed for her performance as the grandly irrepressible Violet Crawley, Countess of Grantham, in the period drama Downton Abbey. She received 3 Emmy Awards for the role in 2011, 2012, and 2016. So, happy 88th birthday to actress Maggie Smith. Another one of my favorites. Great people born on December 28th. Denzel Washington, Maggie Smith. Pretty cool.
There you go.
And in the sports world, I had to throw this one in as well. It is the 50th birthday of Adam Vinatieri. Football player born on this day in 1972 in Yankton, South Dakota. Adam Matthew Vinatieri is an American former football place kicker who played in the National Football League for 24 seasons with the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts. Considered one of the greatest kickers of all time, Vinatieri is the NFL's all-time leading scorer at 2,673 points. That's a whole lot of extra points and field goals.
Yep.
He won 3 Super Bowl titles with the Patriots and 1 title with the Colts. Adam Vinatieri was named to the NFL 2000s All-Decades team, as well as the Patriots All-1990s and All-2000s teams. He was teammates with quarterback Tom Brady on 3 Super Bowl winning teams. Happy 50th birthday to Adam Vinatieri, and you can now join AARP. There you go.
Oh, God.
It is 7 o'clock. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. We'll take our top of the hour break.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:03. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. Watching the sun slowly come up over Park Square.
I know. That's exactly what I was doing. I was looking at that because it's still pretty dark out here.
Yeah,
this
it's
side
starting
of town,
to lighten up a little bit.
Yeah, it is. But Park Square's
that
looking
camera
really nice.
does pretty well in low light, it looks like. So.
Yeah, it does really well in low light. It looks really nice out there.
Yep.
Okay, couple of announcements here. I was, Michelle Urbanski, who works at the YMCA. I forget what her title is over there. She's been promoted. Oh, Health and Wellness Director. I was talking to Michelle. She teaches our mail call class, which, by the way, is a fabulous class. The men meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9 at the Senior Center. We actually open a little early for them because our hours don't generally start till 8:30. But this is a special group, and Michelle's been teaching this class for a couple of years now. But Michelle had talked to me about starting a special program at the YMCA for those with Parkinson's disease. There used to be a place up on Southampton Road, I believe in Southampton, that specialized in fitness for folks with Parkinson's disease. And I can't remember the name of it now. And I had the program director on this program a few years ago. That closed up during the pandemic. You know, a lot of places just didn't make it during the pandemic. And so that kind of left people with Parkinson's at a loss as to, where to kind of get some of their exercise. And it is kind of a specialized area. So anyway, Michelle had gone through a training for that. She's been working on this for several months, and she now runs a class for those with Parkinson's disease. The class meets on Mondays and Fridays from 11 to 12. It's $5, and it's a drop-in. It's a pay-as-you-go. And I asked Michelle yesterday, I said, how is that going? And she said, it's going really well. But it is challenging for her because unlike the other classes that she's used to teaching, people with Parkinson's disease, she said, you're working around their medical appointments, or if they're having a really off day, they're just not going to be able to do it that day. But that is the beauty of the kind of pay-as-you-go $5 a session. So the prerequisites for participation in the YMCA PD class, Parkinson's disease classes, you do have to have medical clearance from your doctor. They do a screening or intake with Michelle. She'll do that herself. Activities, they work on stretching, they work on agility, they work on cardio, they work on strength, and they do some boxing. So those who participate in the program do have to be able to move from station to station. They have it set up with stations. They have to be able to get up and down to and from the floor, and they have to be able to do some cardio movements, some free weight exercises. They have to be able to process cues with minimal assistance. So it's for those that are in the earlier stages of Parkinson's, I would say early to mid stages of Parkinson's disease. If you are interested in getting more information, you can certainly contact Michelle at the YMCA, and the number there is 568-8631. I can't stress enough how I just think this program is so important. We know that exercise, even for someone with some type of a chronic illness, and maybe especially for those with chronic illnesses, is just so important to your overall health and well-being. So to have a specialized program like this is really, really, just beneficial. And speaking of health and wellness, I just want to remind folks that this month's Council on Aging series presents, hosted by Harry Rock. This month's session is called Healthy Eating on a Budget. Harry interviewed Jen DeFune. Jen is a registered dietitian and licensed nutritionist. She's a regular on this program. The third Wednesday of the month is usually Jen's. And
Geez, I wonder if I should air all those on Sunday, like back to back to back to back to back.
Oh, you go. That would be cool. That's an idea.
We could probably fill up the whole day part with all the shows we've done.
Well, Harry said we have probably done since COVID. We started in May of 2020, so we've probably done about 30 shows.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could fill up a whole day and not repeat a single one.
No, exactly. Absolutely.
Maybe I'll do that after I do the religious programming on Sunday, but after that.
Might be an idea.
Load it up.
Very cool. Yeah, and good news, Jen DeFune is actually bringing back our in-person diabetes support group.
Yay.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. That's coming in January. That will be in the January newsletter. So, make sure that you get your copy of the newsletter. I believe that we have it scheduled for the last Tuesday of the month. She's not going to be around to do it in February, but we decided to start it in January anyway, because, I was like, let's not wait till March. Let's just start it in January. Let's see where the interest is, get people kind of revved up about it. We'll give them a couple of months worth of homework to work on, and then we'll meet again. So it'll be the last Tuesday of January. In the afternoon, and I can't remember exactly. I think the time is like 1:30 or 2 o'clock. I think it's 1:30 to 3, something like that. So it's all good. So anyway, the Healthy Eating on a Budget will be, you can view that on Channel 15 tomorrow, Thursday at 2:45. Pete's been running those on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And next week, because it'll be a new month, we will have a new Council on Aging Presents session. But I'm not going to share what that is. It's going to be a surprise. It's in the January newsletter. And of course, you can
I know what it is.
Pete knows because it's been taped already. So we're excited about that. But I think it'll be a good show with a lot of good information for folks, both young and old. So we'll leave it at that. Also, as a reminder, we have the Friends group is still selling T-shirts. So we do have sizes large and extra large. We still have some black, some slate blue, and sort of a heather sage. So all good colors for you. They are $10 a shirt. If you're interested, Sandra Fisher, our greeter, kind of has her kiosk set up, at the front desk over there. We are also selling, by the way, calendars, 2023 calendars. This is a collaboration between the Senior Center's Art Unlimited class and the Graphic Communications Department at Westfield Technical Academy, thanks to Matt Siklecki and his
I saw him
students.
working on that. They did a good job.
Yeah,
of
they
that,
did a great job. And on the back of it, so what we've been doing is at the front, at the greeter's desk, I said to Sandra, we have this on display, but I said display it so people can see the back of it because that gives you all 12 pictures. And the theme this year are buildings that are unique to Westfield. So they're drawings that were done. We've got the new City Hall, the old City Hall, Westfield State College, the Renova building, the Friendlies building. We've got the gas and electric building. So some pretty cool drawings here. So anyway, obviously uniquely Westfield, it's $6, and all the proceeds go to the art class at the Senior Center.
By the way, I heard back from the Technology Center.
Oh, what'd they say?
Steve Zawada gets the gold star.
Okay, so Steve was the
We'll
one
give him
who
the shout out.
masterminded.
Did all the planning for it and everything.
Oh, well, thank you to Steve for doing. Now, what exactly did they do, Pete? I know they were changing
So the core
switches or
switch is basically the top switch for the entire network.
Okay.
The core switch and router. So that means everything in the city goes through that.
Yes.
So when you take that out, the entire city goes down.
Right.
So and I think the last time they changed it when I was still at the tech center, so it's been about 5 years. So that's you get a lot of life out of the switch, the core router. So when they take that down, the entire city network goes down, and if you don't plan it right, it could go down for hours, days.
Yeah. And did that include like dispatch and stuff?
Oh, that's everything.
Yeah, that's everything. So police, fire, the whole deal.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
And so the fact that it was only down for 8 minutes.
Amazing.
10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So great job.
Yeah. Thank you to Steve Zawada.
Like I said, it gives people shout out when they do a good job.
Absolutely. We have to do that.
Yep.
All right. I do not see my guest waiting in the wings, but
No, he's not.
We're going to play his song anyway and hope to bring Joe Rouse in.
Did you remind him?
I did. In fact, I just texted him this one, but I reminded him yesterday.
Where are you, dude?
He had sent me a text. Let's see. I think I had reminded him over the weekend. But I think the text that he sent me back came yesterday. Let's just check this out. Let's see. Because I asked him, I said, what do you want to focus on? Yeah, and then he texted me back yesterday. So he told me what we're going to talk about. And then I texted him this morning to say, yep, that sounds great. And see, here's the thing. Normally, Joe has to, I think, take his daughter to school.
No school.
Yeah, and there's no school. So he's probably feeling like, I got all the time in the world. And, he doesn't. So, I see headlights coming, so let's hope it's Joe.
Yeah, that's him. He's flashing his lights.
He's flashing his lights. He's listening. Okay. All right. Let's play his song, which is Good to Be Alive, Hallelujah by Andy Grammer. We're going to bring Joe Rouse in here.
Show just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:17. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio, of course, with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles, who's been with me since 6 a.m. when it was dark. And it is finally getting light out there, Pete.
Yes.
And we are joined now by our fourth Wednesday of the month guest, Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. So good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Lots going on in the health department.
Wait, I was making you nervous. I wasn't getting here.
You were making me nervous. Not that I can't rattle on for another, 45 minutes on my own, but still,
Pete, you like that entrance, huh?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Lights flashing.
I meant to hit the
going.
flashing green light button, and I hit the siren one instead.
I know. I was like, you got the things decked out.
Yeah. Oops.
Well, I'll tell you.
So here we go.
Here we go again. I took great pleasure in getting away from talking about the COVID issue.
Yeah, we hadn't really had to talk about that too much for like 6 months. We would just kind of touch on it,
Yeah, and I don't want to be, Chicken Little or anything, but we're regionally our numbers are getting back up again for COVID positive, and Westfield specifically. So we're seeing a lot of it in congregate settings now because we're all back together inside. Mm-hmm. So nursing homes and places like that where we're having outbreaks, and just regionally, like Camden County as a whole has graduated up risk level of COVID from where we were even a month ago. So the numbers are coming in. Now, it doesn't mean that, we're going to go back into any sort of closures or mask mandates or anything like that. It's just now we're at that point where we have to tell people what the status is if they don't avail themselves of that themselves. But just to say it's out there, it's getting worse, and this is still very contagious. And, we haven't graduated to a different variant yet, so it's still the same variant we've been dealing with for a year. Yep. So,
but that's a good thing, right?
It is
the same variant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you listen to the media, you'll hear that there's another emerging variant in China that could make its way here if it hasn't already. Mm-hmm. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, it's really just take precautions, do everything we've been saying over and over again. Wash your hands. If you are symptomatic, stay home, stay away from people. And it's hard now too because you don't know with this triple demic or whatever they're calling it.
Is that what?
They stop trying to scare people with all these crazy names.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not like the flu and the RSV, they've been around, but now it's came to the forefront only because you got to try and delineate that from COVID.
Right.
They're all really symptomatically the same.
Yeah.
It's a respiratory virus, and it is what it is. But right now, and I think I said this before on another, I don't know if it was my show or somebody else's, but very concerned about the flu as well.
Yes. Boy, I'll tell you what, my seniors are getting hammered with that.
Yeah, and it's a bad flu season already.
Yeah.
And we're only end of December.
And, I'm hearing, at least through my seniors, I'm also hearing more cases of pneumonia. I don't know if the flu, does that sometimes get into pneumonia? Is that kind of,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the good news is with COVID now, they have, because we've been into it for so long, that there's now treatment for if you test positive. And those treatments are unbelievably readily available. So I'll give you an example. Now, this is so important, I have to put my glasses on.
Okay. Ooh, we got the glasses. So this is like big stuff. Get your pens and pencils ready here.
These aren't mine. Oh, yeah, they are. Okay. So Mass Department of Public Health has set up a telehealth service for COVID-19 treatment, and you can access it by telephone, and also you can go to the website. I'll give you the phone number for. Okay, so let's say you're symptomatic, you test positive for COVID,
Yep.
and you want treatment as quickly as you can.
Okay.
You call 833-273-6330, and I'll keep repeating that.
Okay.
And the website is, it's through a thing called color.com.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. It's probably better for people to just call the number unless you can be savvy enough to go on the state website and you'll find this information with the link to.
Yep.
But with the telehealth service, and there's also a way to do it virtually. So you can do like a Zoom virtual meeting with a provider.
Okay.
Usually it's affiliated with the state. They might not be a state provider, but.
Okay.
So anyway, all you have to do is just call and say, hey, I have COVID. They're not going to make you prove it.
Okay.
They're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and they're going to determine whether or not the treatment is appropriate for you.
Okay.
So and then what happens is there's no cost for the service through the Commonwealth.
Wow.
And they can send it to your pharmacy or they can deliver it right to your home.
But you know what? It doesn't really get much better than that.
Right?
Yeah.
Free. You don't have to see a doctor. You don't have to make an appointment
Wow.
and go in somewhere.
Joe, that's amazing.
And a lot of it is because what we saw before was people, they would have to go to their doctor so that they could, when it was first out, the treatment, and it's a pill. Paxlovid is one of them. That's the most common one.
Right.
So, and it's meant to treat mild to, a little bit,
sort of
but the
mid-range.
severe ones, now you'll probably wind up in the hospital because you got other issues. But yeah, what they did is last time around, people had to go to their doctors. Well, now you're symptomatic, you're out.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Then
All the things that you're not supposed to do.
Then they switched that, and they said now everything was virtual, but still, try and get an appointment. It's a hassle. So now you just call that number, and they make sure that you're eligible for the treatment, and they send it right to you.
So, Joe, Pete, can you print that number out on the screen if Joe reads that number to you? Can we get that on the screen for people, or no?
Maybe.
All right.
Okay.
I don't even have a pen in here, so.
Okay. All right.
I'll just say it again.
Joe's
anyway
gonna.
for
Yeah.
people.
Joe's
Why
gonna.
don't you send me an infographic and I'll put it up on channel 12?
What's that? What do you mean? A text?
No, like an infographic that I can put a full screen graphic that I can put all that information on.
Oh, from the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'll send that to you.
That'll be easier. It'll run
Yeah.
24 hours a day.
Okay.
Give us the number one more time then.
833-273-6330.
Okay.
Call them up. They'll ask you questions.
Yep.
Nope. You don't have to, even if you do the video one,
Yep.
you don't have to hold up a positive test or anything. You just say,
I have people that are like sending me that on my phone, like they're sending me photos of that on their phone, like my volunteers, And now the other thing too is that if somebody tests, like I had a volunteer who tested positive, she had mild symptoms, not a big deal, but she tested positive, stayed home for her, week, 10 day, whatever it was, and she kept testing positive. But if you've had it, you may test positive for a while, right?
Right, exactly.
But I mean, it doesn't mean you have to quarantine forever.
No, it's really just based on the initial onset of symptoms, and then when you test positive, and when you test positive is day 0, and then you have to go 5 days beyond that.
And then we did that. I mean, we were like a week and a half.
If you're still symptomatic after the 5 days, you should continue to stay away from people and isolate. But if you're
she kept sending me texts saying, I feel great, but this thing's coming. And I said, put on a mask and come on in.
Right. If you did your
you're
5
fine.
days.
We were 10 days into it, for heaven's sakes. And she really had pretty mild symptoms all the way around, so, which was great. I mean, that was good.
Yeah.
So there was something else I was going to ask, and now it totally went out of my head.
Test kits?
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what I was going to ask. Test kits. We still have some at the senior center.
Oh, good.
So we have been giving them. Yeah, I'd love more. We've been giving them out.
So we received 2 rounds of free test kits from the state already. The last one was back in June, and they extended the expiration date on them to the end of January.
Yep.
Now those are all coming up to be expired.
Right.
So
we've been giving those out right and left.
The first round, I think we got about 3,000 or 4,000. The second round, we got about 7,000, and I thought that was a lot. This third round, we're getting 22,000.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
So-
Okay, so because we've been kind of not exactly rationing, but I knew there were no test kits left at City Hall, so I said to my staff, okay, like certainly we're giving them out if somebody needs one, but it's, it's like, okay, here's one box. And, some people are like, can I have one for, especially around the holidays, which was great. People were like, I want them for us. I want them for my grandkids. And, I want everybody checking themselves before we get together.
Right.
So here you go.
Well,
good to know.
The thing is, when they come in, we're really going to promote the get rid of the old ones.
Yes.
Because we're going to have plenty.
Yeah.
And some of the older ones now, even though the expiration date has been extended, are failing.
Okay.
So
Okay,
you don't
good to
even
know.
see the line anymore.
Yeah,
Sometimes
okay.
you
All
put the 3 drops in, and
Yeah.
sometimes the line will show up, and sometimes it won't.
Okay,
So
good to know.
Yeah, so those are getting to the end of their useful
Okay.
life. But I don't know when they're coming in. I've made room for them. There's probably going to be like 6 or 7 pallets of test kits.
Wow.
And
Okay.
and when they come in, we'll get the word out. We'll have the table set up again at City Hall, because I also ordered a whole bunch of other personal protective
PPE,
equipment. So there's going to be more masks. There's going to be sanitizer, wipes. And I even this time got kids' masks, too. They have
that's great.
the surgical masks
Yeah.
that are smaller size for kids.
Wow,
So-
that's excellent, Joe.
Mhm.
We have been giving out masks like crazy. I mean, anytime anybody had any of that stuff to give away, even after COVID started I took it. I was like, yep, we'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. And so, I still have the KN95 mask that we got from the health department.
Yep.
And, we keep the top shelf like in the lobby filled with masks. And it's funny because every few days you see it going down. So we have people requesting them. When I do curbside meals, I have a basket with masks. I have a basket with test kits. So as people are coming through the line, if they need any of that, they just ask me for it. As I feel like remember the old fashioned candy stripers? She would come around with the cart.
Right.
That's what I feel like. Well, here's my cart. I got the newspaper. I've got the newsletter for the seniors, and I have masks. I have test kits. What else do you need? But no, that's great to know. Perfect.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff. I would think, based on the last timing of everything, that when we confirmed the order, it was usually about a week and a half before they came in.
So it'll be coming
I would
soon.
anticipate probably this week, if early next week.
Yeah.
at
And now,
the holidays.
will those? I assume a lot of those will also go out to the schools.
I don't
Is that
know.
what- you're not sure
Last
about
I
that
heard, they still had a ton of them, but
Oh, okay.
maybe not anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll check with
Okay.
them
So
and
we'll-
be happy to give them out, because 22,000 is a lot of test kits.
Yep.
That'll get us through the winter.
It should get us through the winter. All right, let's take a short break. It is 7:29. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. If you're just joining us, my guest this morning is Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. Right now we're talking all things COVID, but we actually do have some other topics to cover.
Right.
As well as
we can talk trash.
We can talk trash. Let's talk trash when we come back. All right. In honor of the birthday of Denzel Washington, I pulled a song from Remember the Titans. If you've not seen the movie, you got to see it because it's great, and the soundtrack is great because it's all old stuff from like the 70s. So I pulled a CCR song. This was part of the movie. It's Up Around the Bend. We'll be back.
There's a place up ahead and I'm going just as fast as my feet can fly. Come away if you're going. Leave the sinking ship behind. Come on to ride. around the bend.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
All right, I'm back. I have my glasses on. I'm putting my headphones on. I'm like, nope, got to do it in the right order. Good morning, Westfield. You are listening to WSKB and you are watching WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. So we are talking about sort of the latest surge in COVID cases. Not unexpected, but I feel like we're in a different place now, Joe. I just feel like it's the same as when we get that, surge of the flu and, surges of other kinds of things that are going around. And I feel like as a city and as a population, we have a much better awareness of what we should be doing. And I personally have also noticed, at least with my staff and with my seniors, that people are much more conscious of they're not coming in sick. It's like, I don't feel well, I'm staying home.
Right.
And I think to a certain extent, it's because when somebody tells me that, one of my staff, it's like, there's a part of me going, oh man, I need coverage. But there's another part of me saying, yeah, stay home. Because the last thing I need is to bring whatever you have. And the other thing, we were talking about COVID and we were talking about the flu and pneumonia and all this other stuff. There also is, people are just getting the common cold.
Yep.
And
there's that too.
There is that too, and people are just going, I'm testing. It's negative. It's just, I just have a cold, I mean, it's not like because of all this other stuff, we don't have, stomach bugs and colds and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's hard to tell the difference until you take that at-home test. But and speaking of testing, the curative test site that was on Railroad Ave, that's down by the bridges, they are gone now. Okay. So you can't get a PCR test from them. Okay. So the next question we get every day, where can I get the PCR test?
And what is PCR?
So that's the laboratory confirmation. It's not an at-home. So you go to a facility like Walgreens will do it actually. Okay. And it's just the same thing that you would do at home, except it goes through laboratory analysis instead of just that little plate with the drops on it. Yep. So you can still get that at Urgent Care in Westfield on Union Street. Okay. You can make an appointment at Noble to have a PCR test, or you can go to Walgreens. Okay. Walgreens might even do the drive-through one too.
Well, and I think Noble is doing the drive-through one.
Yep.
Because I had to go there the last week to pick something up after this show, and I remember when I had my colonoscopy, I had to get the test done, and they did it as a drive-through back in September, and so I know the drill, and I'm like, oh, they're doing testing here, right in the front of the hospital, right near the main lobby. You just like drive up, and they got people all masked up and all that stuff.
Yeah, so there's still places. Okay. And by the way, all of the numbers that we get are from the laboratory confirmed tests. So we don't get people calling in saying I tested positive at home. So it's really just an indicator. It's not representative at all of the actual cases that we have in Westfield.
Correct.
But it helps to know, is it staying? Because for probably the last 3 or 4 months, it's remained very stable, like almost the same amount of cases every week. Okay, that's fine. Yep. But when you start to see the uptick and it's not exponential, but it's still large enough to say, okay, now we got to go back to talking about this again. Nobody wants to. I don't particularly want to, but it's my job, so this is what we have to do.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But, but we're at a stage now where it's like, you know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Wash your hands, wear your mask if you're, I've always got mine around my neck. And that way, if I'm in a situation or I pretty much wear it anytime I go to the supermarket or any other place where, it doesn't hurt. I'm used to it now. And, when I leave, I take it off and I get in my car and the world is right.
Yeah. So just, again, go back to, not that you should have gotten away from it, but the same thing with, and I feel like the biggest one is kind of the social distancing thing. And not that we have to make a regulation about it or anything, but I really feel like even with myself, I've gotten to a place where, and when I'm in public, like if I'm at the grocery store or something like that, and somebody's looking at something that I need to look at, I'm going to stand away from them until they're done. In the old times, you just like get...
Yeah, it's like, excuse me, pardon me.
Look over
I need that applesauce over there, right?
But the worst thing that can happen is, somebody sneezes or coughs or whatever in your airspace, and then boom, there you go. So don't take the risk and...
give yourself some distance.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
it all makes sense.
Right.
All right. So beyond COVID, we have a new textile law. Is that what's happening in Massachusetts? And I've heard a little bit about it, but I think it's a little confusing about how what we're supposed to do. So first of all, can you explain what the textile law is, and then how the heck are we supposed to abide by it?
Right. So
can I say unnecessary government regulation?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you.
There it is.
And that was Pete, not me.
I know.
No, I know.
I less government, the better. Good Lord.
So the state, what they're trying to do is that the solid waste ban, they're expanding every year to a different item that can be recycled, reused, or whatever. So it's not winding up in the trash. And this year it was textiles and mattresses. Mattresses are now officially banned from being in the trash. However, 2 years ago in Westfield, we had mattress recycling program. People can buy stickers, and then they bring them up. It goes into a separate container. The guy comes and takes them all away, and then they tear them down and they, reuse the material for something, so they don't get thrown out.
Well, now that you brought that up, let's just pause here because in this week's reminder, I was reading Michael Dobbs, and I love Michael Dobbs, even though he's semi-retired now, but he does like a monthly opinion, and he wrote an article on the mattress, the new mattress law, and what's happening. His wife works at a private nonprofit. And so now people are dumping their mattresses, they're donating them because I guess wherever she works, they collect clothing or whatever they collect. So suddenly, you've got 16 mattresses up against your fence. And he figured out that the total cost, how did he figure this out? He figured out the total cost was like $17 to dispose of a mattress proper, like legally, like get your, whatever you have to permit or whatever you have to do. And so he's like, okay, so I'm willing to take that on as a responsible resident. And so, he said, now we've got, the unintended consequences of people deciding, well, I don't want to spend the $17 for whatever I have to do.
Can we mark the tape and look for let's see what the next Earth Day cleanup and see how many mattresses are out there?
Well, exactly. And that's what he said. So now his wife's, wherever his wife is working, some nonprofit in Springfield, they've already spent over $1,000 getting all new cameras to figure out who's dumping, and to actually take these mattresses and do whatever they have to do. So now this is a nonprofit who's supposed to be helping, low income, but they just use some of their money to do that. I mean, it's, Hello.
Maybe we could talk to our lawmakers when they come in half an hour.
That is very interesting because I was just going to say that John Velas is very big on unintended consequences. And whenever he's posing legislation, you always have to think about, okay, this is our intention, but what's actually going to happen over here?
That one in the swine law about the pork coming into Massachusetts is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. See, you agree with me on that one too.
Okay, back to textiles. Let's get Joe in here. Okay,
so just to follow up on the mattress thing, I think you're right. Unintended consequences. So we only charge $10 for a mattress in Westfield, so we're cheaper than anywhere else. I think that the state should subsidize that cost, and we shouldn't charge anything. You want it out of the waste stream, you need to incentivize that somehow, because you're right. Otherwise, these things are going to wind up on the side of the road. Here's the problem. They wind up on the side of the road. Somebody's got to pick them up and bring them to the transfer station. At that point, they're not usable anymore, so they wind up in the trash. You can only put, things mattress recycling consists of relatively clean mattresses, right? If it's got mud and dirt and it's been rained on and everything,
right,
you got to throw it in the trash. So that kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? It just doesn't. But you know what? It's well-intentioned. I think that the point is let's reduce our solid waste tonnages.
So if somebody does want to get rid of a mattress, so what's the process for that? They get a sticker?
You go to Big Y, you get a sticker. You need one. Mattress and box springs are separate.
Okay. So it's one sticker for each item?
Yep.
Okay.
$10.
Okay. And box springs do fall into this category. It's right? Mattress / box springs.
Yep.
Okay.
And the textile part is the new one this year for us.
Yeah.
So now anything that, it could be old clothes, it could be towels, sheets, blankets, any textile like that.
Yeah.
Is supposed to stay out of the trash. And we just recently, I think last week, we have 2 bins up at the transfer station for any kind of textile. So we have the Salvation Army one up there. So that's where you would put clothes that can be reused. If they're perfectly good, you just don't like them, they're outdated, they don't fit, whatever, they can go in Salvation Army. If anything else that you have, old towels or, like I said, blankets, sheets, things like this, they can go in the Planet Aid. There's 2 containers up there. They actually pay the city back for that, and there's no charge. There's no stickers involved or anything. It's just like if you were to bring stuff to Salvation Army. So, and they actually do recycle those and reuse the material for making other things.
Joe, is there, it seemed to me that on the bulletin board at the senior center, and this was probably a year or so ago, it seems to me that there were other locations throughout the city. There was a textile thing. I'll have to go back because I think I still have it on the bulletin board of where you could drop off textiles. Do you know of any others other than at the transfer station? I'm going to have to look that
There's one company in town called Pay It Forward Recycling. They're white containers. I know they're scattered all over the city.
Okay.
And he'll take anything.
Okay.
So it's not just a clothing bin.
Yeah.
There's one at the Union Street convenience store.
Okay.
And I think there's one up on Southampton Road. There's one at the transfer station also, so we have 2 different companies there.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, there are, if you see Pay It Forward Recycling.
Okay. So that's what we're looking for, Pay It Forward Recycling. I'll have to keep an eye, because there was something over near the Big Y on Route 20. I don't know, and I'm in my head, because I go by there every day, I'm thinking it's a white bin. I'll have to check and see, because there may be one over there as well.
Yep. So they're out there. There's not just the transfer station. You can bring it to any of those other containers. And here's the twist to the whole thing, though, why I think you can't put contaminated textiles in those bins.
Right. So you can't put like your oily rags and things like that. Yeah.
But I kind of.
But you can't throw them away.
You can't.
So what do you do?
Well, you're supposed, if it's an oily rag that you use, it's supposed to go in the trash because it's contaminated. It can't be repurposed. Anything. Well, if I took a perfectly good white sheet and threw it in the trash, which I'm not supposed to do, by the time it gets to the end facility, it's going to be contaminated. So how are they going to know whether it was thrown in there clean or dirty? It's going to be dirty either way.
Yeah.
So this really is just, people trying to abide by the new regulation and do the right thing, divert that from the waste stream. It will keep hauling costs down. Because the more tonnage that we have, the more it seems every year that our per tonnage cost for hauling it out of the transfer station goes up and up and up. And that makes sense. So anything we can divert from the waste stream, great. But you're right, there are unintended consequences. And at some point, I mean, we see it all the time. We always have to call DPW and say, hey, will you go pick up this pile over on Madeiros Way that somebody just sort of 2:00 in the morning threw it out of their truck or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time.
Because they don't want to incur the cost. So, yeah. So that's that.
So so those laws, the textile and the mattress law, are in effect now, right, Joe? They're not, or are they going in effect January 1?
They went in effect in November.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So,
okay.
But like I said, it's not the end of the world. If something winds up in the trash, like I said, you're not going to get arrested.
Yeah.
If you throw something in your trash that's a towel or something, don't climb in the barrel and try and retrieve it because it's okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
and the next thing that'll be coming at some point, and this is the one that I don't know how we're going to manage it, is food waste ban.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I must have heard about that on National Public Radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there are other states that have already. I totally do not understand this at all.
So it's going to start with commercial facilities. So like this school.
Yeah.
And, maybe your facility at
Yeah,
the senior
yeah,
center.
yeah.
And not residential properties right off the bat. So there's going to be, you have to have some means of containerizing it so that somebody comes and picks it up and brings it to a composting facility.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, that's the only thing, right? That
or
you
you
can
have
do
to
with
compost it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They could probably do that here quite well.
But the interesting thing about that, Joe, is when you think about it, not everything can be composted, right? I mean, there's not, some. I mean, we think of like peelings from vegetables and things like that's great. That can all be compost. But I think of things like, I don't know, like fat from meat or meat, actually. Right. I mean, I don't know, can that...
Not supposed to do that.
Yeah,
no, because,
exactly.
if you do compost that yourself, that's just going to attract animals.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking, okay, so I own a restaurant and I serve, a hamburger and somebody doesn't finish the burger. What am I doing here?
That's trash. It's got to be. So and I'm sure when you get to that point, they'll have a whole list like they do with the textile ban of what constitutes food waste that they can't go in the trash. But I'm sure they're not going to advocate for any sort of fats or oils or meat, not like chicken bones. Although if you compost correctly, we have a couple minutes, but when I first started working for the city, I was an intern. Going to school, but up at Twist Street, we still do have, the leaf and the grass clipping drop off there.
Right.
And we used to be very much more active in actually composting that and getting a good final product out of it.
Yep.
So my one of my first jobs was we used to have this big, huge, long thermometer. It was like 4 feet long, like a probe thermometer with a dial readout on the top. And I would have to go up and temp the compost piles to see if they were ready to be turned or whatever.
Yep.
Do you know that it would get up to 140 degrees
I believe that.
inside
Yeah,
these
I believe
compost
that.
piles?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
But I think not everybody realizes that. They think that you just like throw it in a pile and it compost, but you have to turn it. I mean, there's there's kind of a method to the madness here. Yeah.
Yep. So I used to have to go up and just wade in the compost pile and take temperatures. And in the winter, it was interesting. You'd stick the thing in there and steam would come pouring out.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It was quite impressive.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all that nature, that natural composting. So now what about garbage disposals? Are those, can you throw your peelings and stuff down garbage disposal? Of course, I'm thinking about my one at home. We don't have one at the senior center, but I have one at home.
Right. You can, as long as it's not going in your trash container. But the problem with that in the city of Westfield is that we are 50% sewer and 50% septic. Mm-hmm. If you have a septic system, you should not have a garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Because that'll screw up your whole septic system.
Yeah.
So that means 50% of the city is not going to be able to put it in their garbage disposal.
Yep.
I guess you could compost it, but we're still a ways from the residential ban of food waste. It's mostly starting with the restaurants.
When are they talking, Joe, about starting with restaurants and schools and things like that? Are they like within the next couple of years, do you think?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
They were trying to roll out a program every year, but I think that with this particular one, and now that we've just had the textiles and the mattresses, will probably not be next year, but maybe the year after.
Yeah, let us figure out what we're doing with our clothes and our blankets and our towels and our mattresses before
I wonder if you can compost like old sheets and burn them up at 140 degrees in the middle of the.
I don't know. And I think at some point, probably over the next couple of months, we're going to have to go back and revisit recycling and what we're allowed to recycle and what we're not. I feel like the recycle police. I feel like the recycle cop at the senior center. Mm-hmm. I'm constantly looking and going, no, you can't recycle that. and I have those, remember when you came and did the program at the senior center? It was before COVID.
Right.
We had a table of like, these are things that you can recycle and these are things you can't. And I took photos of that. I have those hanging.
Mm-hmm.
I have those photos hanging. Now I have arrows because I have people that keep wanting to throw like their Dunkin' Donuts coffee cups in recycle. I'm like, you can't recycle. That's on the no recycling table. I have arrows pointing to it.
Right. Yeah, no, it's probably time to address that.
I mean,
again,
I think that it's great that people, sort of feel like, oh, great, I can recycle this. But, it's not helpful if you're putting, plastic bags and things that are going to gunk up the system. And,
right.
And the cities and towns get fined for that stuff if you're putting in a whole bunch of stuff that you're not supposed to be putting into the recycle bin.
Yeah, both that and the trash. I mean, there is an acceptable allowance of contamination.
Mm-hmm.
But once you go over that certain percentage and it's on a recurring basis, then you get fined. Absolutely, for recycling. Or we had one company back in the very beginning that just refused to come and pick up the recycling anymore because it had to be sorted out by hand.
Yeah.
Back then.
Like who the heck wants to do that?
Right. So
it's disgusting.
Yeah, we can talk about recycling sometime now that we're still in charge of the transfer station.
I know. Are we moving in a direction on that, Joe? No, we're not at all.
No.
Well, the mayor's coming on next, so perhaps that's something you want to just pick up the sixth microphone.
We talk about it all the time. It's just multiple factors, and you know what? I don't mind working, managing the place, but time could be spent
doing other things. Yeah, exactly. And Joe, I'm just curious, in other cities and towns, who manages the transfer stations?
Public Works.
Generally, it's Public Works. Generally, not.
It's unique here only because we used to we kept curbside collection under the health department for a long time, longer than most other cities and towns did. It was only maybe 25 years ago that we put it over to DPW, but we kept the transfer station because we were just starting a recycling program.
Got it.
And we were already in the mix with that, so we didn't want to just like dump it on them along with curbside. But and so end of story.
Yeah, that's what happened. I kind of stayed there.
Yeah.
But was that common in other cities and towns where trash collection was under the health department, or was that again just kind of unique to Westfield?
It started off that way.
Okay.
And years ago, I'm saying, when we first probably started curbside collection, that was usually health department, a solid waste issue. So
okay. In my head, I'm trying to get the rationale for that. It's like, okay, wait a minute, how did this end up? I mean, obviously, pretty much anything can come back to the health department.
That's
You're concerned about the health and safety of your your citizens and your residents and so forth. But it's like, yeah.
Well, anyway, it's going to get better and better up there. So
okay,
yeah.
All right. Listen, we blew through our last break, and I did that on purpose because I know Harry Rock has a full slate. My guest this morning has been Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. And again, I think I kind of want to wrap this up in just reminding people that COVID is not gone as much as we would like for it to be gone.
No.
And now we have added the flu, and we have, what's it called? RSV? What does that stand for? Respiratory something.
Something virus.
Yeah, it's right. Respiratory something virus.
Rhinovirus.
Yeah, something that we don't want to get.
Right.
And, we have the common cold. So please be smart. Stay home if you are sick. Wear your mask if you go out and you need to. Distance. I think that's really important. And I am I need my space. I have people that are coming up to my face, and I'm like, back up. I don't know where you've been and who you've been around, and if you're going to start sneezing on me or coughing on me, get away. Just give me my 6 feet here.
Yep.
So be conscious of all of that. And again, we've got a new mattress law. We have new textile laws, so those things not in the trash. All right, we are going to end with Celtic Woman singing. This is my favorite rendition of Auld Lang Syne, and of course, we are welcoming in the new year. Joe, your final words?
Stay healthy, my friends.
There you are. We'll see you next week.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot for old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet. and surely I'll buy mine, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. We two have run about the braes and poured the gowans fine, and we've wandered many a weary stop since old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. We two have paddled in the burn from morning sun till dine, but the seas between us broad have roared since old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet